Hi, it's Cara from Bianca Reads, and today we're doing a rather huge wrap-up. So, if you've been paying any attention to my channel in the last year, you know I've been hopeless, especially at filming wrap-ups. This wrap-up encompasses everything from August to the end of the year. So it's a big one. I'm going to try and go through as quickly as I can, so I won't give you too much on each of them, but I want to kind of get my thoughts across. So let's go. I believe I filmed a wrap-up for August, September and October, but I can't find it anywhere. So we're refilming this section, so apologies if it's even more brief. But here is, firstly, Tainted Heart by Melissa Graves, which is book 2 of the Mi Corazon Sangrante series. This is from Interlude Press, which I've talked about before. I absolutely love them. They're a queer publishing house, and this is a paranormal romance, essentially. Following Brian and Kyle. I think Brian's a human and Kyle is a vampire who was recently trained at the start of the first book, and you're kind of dealing with their romance in this society in which vampires play a large role. So yes, I really enjoyed this. It's cheesy and paranormal. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars, but still really enjoyed it. It's just cheesy. Then next in August I read Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare, which is book 2 in the Dark Artifices series. This is the third series in the Shadowhunter world, and obviously the second book, so I won't talk about the plot because obviously there's so much behind it. I really enjoyed this. I think I liked it better than Lady Midnight, only because the plot really got rolling and I didn't feel so much like I was just fiddling around in the world and introducing characters. So I really enjoyed this. I'm very excited for Queen of Air and Darkness, which is the third book, which is coming out late in 2018. Then I read Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. This is a comic memoir. It follows Alison and her relationship with her father and sexuality. And obviously there's now a musical based on this. I really enjoyed this. It is quite sad and very insightful into the kind of lived experiences, but I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. It was just good. Then I read Storm Season by Penny Henson. This is another Interlude Press novel following Leanne and Claudia, who Leanne's a Sydney it girl and is writing for fashion and paparazzi kind of magazines about the nightlife in Sydney, and Claudia is a ex-musician who's living as a park ranger out in the middle of nowhere, and you know, it's a romance. This is really good. I actually really enjoyed this. I think one of the first lesbian romances that I've read from Interlude Press. I think I read Sideshow, which also was a lesbian romance. But yes, this was very sweet. Short, so I flew through it and definitely would recommend. This is also an Australian setting, which is great for me. It felt kind of nostalgic. It was really good. I then read Remembrance by Meg Cabot. I don't have this on me because I hide it from the library. It is book 7, I guess, in the Mediator series. I have books 1 to 6 here. I didn't end up going out to buy book 7 after reading it because it was kind of a letdown on the rest of the series. It essentially kicks off like 5 or so years after the plot of the main series. It's kind of one of those tag on the end novels to like wrap things up, but they were quite wrapped up already. It was fun, but a little bit unnecessary. So this series is essentially a Buffy style kind of that kind of era of paranormal romance, so really kick-ass female leads, none of this Twilight stuff. And we follow our main character Susanna, who can speak to the dead, and her boyfriend or love interest at the start of the first book is a ghost. So that is the crux of the series. Essentially, this 7th book I felt was just a little money grabbing. It was fun and enjoyable, but I didn't think it was really necessary for the series. Then I read Rook by Shannon Cameron. This is a alternate reality, future, historical fiction. So it's technically set in the far future after the world has essentially been tilted off its axis, so a lot of technology has stopped working, including satellites and things. And it's a regressed future society that's reflecting the French Revolution. I really enjoyed this. I actually thought the narrative style was a bit off for the kind of content, but it was fine. I just felt it read a bit too contemporary for this kind of action adventure historical fiction story. But besides that, the plot was A++. It was great. Loved it. We follow a kick-ass lead female character and her band of men. It was a love triangle that actually genuinely made sense because it wasn't really a triangle. And it had a very satisfying ending. So, yes. Then I read Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, obviously by J.K. Rowling, and I read this illustrated edition. There's not much to say. It's Harry Potter. I loved it, and the pictures were gorgeous. Then I read Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. This is his newest release, and follows a girl, Aza, who is suffering from OCD, and I really enjoyed this. I thought the way John wrote the lived experiences of Aza was very poignant. It kind of made me anxious reading it in a way, but in a good, satisfying way, I guess. It's hard to describe. I would perhaps call this a little triggering if you're experiencing anxiety and OCD, only because the writing is so clicked into the brain. Overall, I found this really good. I really enjoyed it. I'm still trying to convince my boyfriend to read it. So, yes. Then I read A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This is the second book in the Darker Shade of Magic series. This one was really good. So essentially this series follows 4 parallel Londons, in each of which have a different level and amount of magic, and our main character Kel is a type of, what's he called? I can't remember what he is. He's a particular type of person, I can't remember what they're called, who can travel between the different Londons. Most people can't. And his adventures and mishaps. This one really built the stakes on the last one, and it had a really good setting in a kind of like fighting games arena style, which was great. I know some people don't like the main female character in this. I don't love her, but I really like Kel, so that makes up for it. And I really liked some of the new characters introduced in this book, particularly the captain. He was really good. I liked him. So that was this one. I do intend to read the third one in January. Then I read Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. This is the third book in the Diviners series, which essentially is a 1920s American, they're in New York, story following these children with magical or paranormal abilities. Our main character Evie can sense or can see the past through touch of objects owned by people, which was really interesting, but all the kids have different kind of abilities. And this one really started to explore how they came to be and how they fit into this world, which was really good. I really enjoyed this one. It was good. And now finally we're into November. So I started November off by reading Idlewild by Jude Sierra, which is another Interlude Press novel. This one is set in Detroit, following an interracial couple. And, well, they're not together at the start of the book, but, you know, love interests. And in this setting of a floundering restaurant, and Asher is one of our main characters. Asher, his husband recently died, or 5 or so years ago, and it was their baby, this restaurant, and now he's trying to rebuild it from the ground up. And Tyler is part of that. So I really enjoyed this. Really fun. The romance was really sweet and very good. Then I read The Land of Stories, An Author's Odyssey by Chris Colfer. This is the 5th book in the series. There's 6 books all up. I'm going to read the 6th one very soon. Well, very soon. Hopefully in 2018 sometime. I do have it. I've just got to get around to it. And these are middle grade adventure stories. They're so good. They follow these twins who fall through a book into, what do they call the world? The fairy tale world, essentially. But it's a bit twisted and not quite as you would expect. And this one involves Connor and Bailey, who are Connor and Alex Bailey, the twins, who are going into Connor's own short stories that he's written to try and gather characters to save the fairy tale world. And it was really good. Kind of took you out of the fairy tale world a little bit for most of it, which I didn't like so much, but was necessary for the plot. But the end was really, really good. And I'm definitely excited to read the concluding novel. Then, of course, I read the illustrated edition of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by J.K. Rowling and illustrated by Olivia Lominette-Gill. This is exactly as you would expect, except there's a few extra beasts added in that are from the Fantastic Beasts film, which I really enjoyed. It was very good. The illustrations are gorgeous, and it was fast-paced and, well, not fast-paced, and easy to read. On my Harry Potter train, I also read A Journey Through a History of Magic, which is the kids' suitable version of A History of Magic, which also has come out recently. I'm currently reading it. This was fun and really easy to get through, really simple, designed for kids, and was a great fun read. It's about the British Library exhibition of Harry Potter. Then at the end of November, I read I Hate Everyone But You by Gabby Dunn and Alison Raskin. I read this while I was recovering from tonsillectomy, and this was really easy and fun to read. It's told in email and chat format, which I don't mind. I know some people don't like that, but I didn't mind it, and I had my problems with both of the main characters because they were sometimes a bit whiny and over the top, but that was kind of intentional at the same time. So it just seemed a bit ironic, and overall I enjoyed this. It was fun. Very fun. It's essentially, I don't think I said, it's essentially the, supposed to be a rip-off of Gabby Dunn and Alison Raskin's own youth, I guess, or what they expect people to think their youth is like. And so it's 2 college-age girls and dealing with, obviously Alison has OCD, so it's got a bit of that. And Gabby is a sexually promiscuous, pansexual or bisexual woman, so there's a lot of that, so yes. Then I started December by reading both Nevernight and God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. I will be uploading a review of these next week, I believe. So I've already filmed it, so you see, I'll be uploading a review of these next week. I've already filmed it, so look out for those. These are essentially high fantasy a high fantasy series following our main character Mia, whose father was killed in a failed uprising. He was assassinated for hanged for treason, and she's now joining this assassin school to be able to get revenge on the political and religious leaders that caused his death. So this was very, very good. Very good. I enjoyed both of them immensely. They were 100% 5-star books, and they were one of the few series in a long time that I've marathoned back to back. I don't normally do that at all. Then I read Almost Midnight by Rainbow Rowell. This is a little book of short stories. It was cute and fun. There's not much to it. It's just short stories. If you like Rainbow Rowell, you'll definitely enjoy this. And they were really sweet and fun. Then I read this sweet picture storybook called Girls Don't Fart, okay? Which I got for Christmas from my boyfriend's mom. It's a bit of an inside joke in their family, our family. And it is just really sweet. It's these boys whose friend told them girls don't fart when they tried to accuse her of farting, so now they're going to try and find evidence of girls who fart, and it's really sweet. And finally, this year I read The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This is a historical queer romance adventure story, and it's as bizarre and good as it sounds. We follow Monty, who is going on his grand tour of the continent in the 1700s, and he is in love with his best friend Percy, but they've got this kind of thing going where neither of them want to admit it, and then their tour kind of goes off the rails, and I think they're also with their sister Felicity, or his sister Felicity, Monty's sister, and he's a bit of a rake and is doing a lot of drinking and seeing a lot of men and women, and because we have a bisexual lead character, and he essentially gets himself into some trouble that they have to get themselves out of. The main love interest, Percy, is biracial, which was really interesting, and Monty's sister Felicity is kind of like a pre-feminist. She's really interested in medicine and doesn't want to be to go to finishing school and do all the lady things. She wants to become a surgeon. So this was so good. There's pirates and dukes and kings and mysteries and lots of fun. I did originally, for the first 50 pages or so, really not like the main character because he was a bit up himself, but he kind of comes around and realizes how shitty he was, and throughout the rest of the novel he's really trying not to be shitty even when he is shitty. So this was really good. Also there's disability representation in this book because Percy is epileptic, and that's really dealt with in a major way. And there's also family violence issues raised here, and it's all dealt with really maturely for a fun 18th century adventure story romance. So yes, I would definitely recommend this. It was insanely good and surprised me a lot. So these are all the books I basically read in the second half of the year because I'm hopeless at filming wrap-ups. Thank you for watching. Let me know down below if you've read any of these. Talk to me about them. I would love to talk to you. And otherwise, I will see you soon with another video. I'm going to add an extra video this week that will come up on Sunday, which will be my top 5 books of the year. So I'll see you soon for that one. Bye!